What's up, guys? Welcome to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. I'm Josh Ivanosh. He's Angel Ortega. Talk about a lot of stuff today, mostly in the world of combat sports. Before we talk about the world of combat sports, let's talk about Amazon, because Amazon is the number one online store today. It has been for years. No matter what, games, books, movies, it's all at Amazon.com. You buy the link at the Podbean page or the YouTube page. It helps support the podcast. Like, support us. If you have something you want, buy the link. It helps us. You can help yourself as well. Last night, I'm gonna do this kind of quick because I understand a lot of people don't really care. But last night I went to Invicta FC 37 in Kansas City, Kansas, which I think is really funny because at the start of the show they show like B-roll of like Kansas City, and it just says Kansas City, not Kansas City, Kansas, because Memorial Hall is in a garbage place. Like it's a bad location. Just saying, I don't feel safe rolling through that area, but I got to. And they show like footage of like the Sprint Center and like just an overview of like Kansas City. I'm like, bro, I wish I were at the Sprint Center right now. But anyways, the card itself was a pretty good one for Invicta standards. There wasn't a whole lot of like name power. There wasn't a title fight on this one either. But they had probably the biggest star in Invicta right now, Pearl Gonzalez. She was in the main event. She won via a decision over the undefeated Brogan Sanchez. That was a pretty good fight. Pearl Gonzalez is somebody who I think like UFC should get their hands on her sooner than later because, you know, they can elevate her, they can bring her up whenever they want. Obviously, she lost a title fight her last time out, but that was like kind of a weird thing where like eye poke, they were 4 rounds in, they end up going to a technical decision. But before that, you know, she's 4-1 in her last 5. She's looked really good in this fight. And like you can just tell whenever she fights, it's like a big deal. She's like former UFC talent. The crowd was all there for her. Like, I remember in the 3rd round, she was raining down elbows from guard, and, like, there was, like, a Pearl chant going on in the crowd. Like, she's a star, man. She could be a really big star, and she's, like, and I wonder if Invicta's going to try and hold on to her. Because, like, just based on, like, what numbers we were tracking, you know, what numbers we were doing for our website, we were doing pretty good numbers. And for probably the best numbers that I've personally seen during my time covering Invicta. But, other fights, Maria Agapova, Dana White Contender Series alum, got the win via TKO. I call her Mini Joanna because she's like kind of, I believe she's from that same location, and she's just a monster, man. Last fight was ridiculous. This fight also ridiculous. They're throwing hooks that would make Vanderlei Silva proud. And then other fight I want to mention, Kay Hansen. Listen, Kay Hansen is the best example I've ever seen of like a fighter improving fight to fight. She's, I want to say 6-3 now. That record does not sound impressive, but neither does Rose Namajunas. And I think those two have like really good comparisons because Kay Hansen is like a ridiculous grappler. She comes out of like 10th Planet Fullerton, which is a really good jiu-jitsu school in California. And I believe she's won like 3 of her last 4. She started off 3-2, but she's looked damn good recently, especially this one. She completely dominated. There was not a single moment that Nicole Cagliari, who was 6-1 by the way, had any success. She just dominated that fight. So she's somebody to keep your eye on for the future. I would not be surprised if she got called to the UFC sooner than later. I still think she could use a bit of seasoning in Invicta, but like the girl is class, man. She's really, really good. Her grappling is ridiculous. She was like a mini Damian Maia the way she was always backpacking Cagliari last night. But yeah, she's super, super good. There wasn't any super fun stories, I suppose, coming out of it. Like that, there was the one time where like the judging mistake happened, which I think that's a really fun story to tell. But there wasn't a whole lot of crazy stories. So with that, I figure we can move on to UFC Copenhagen. I'll be completely honest. I did not see this card live when it happened, which is super rare for me. I watched all the cards. I actually did not even work that day, so I do not have an excuse. I wrote up some of the prelims, and then I took a nap because it was early and I wanted to go to bed. And so as a result, I missed the main event live. However, I did see it afterwards, and I'll say Jared Cannonier is the real deal. This dude started off at heavyweight. Like 10 years ago, he was I believe he worked like air traffic control or something along those lines in like Alaska. And he weighed like 300 pounds. And then he got in shape, fought in the UFC at heavyweight. I think he went 1-1 at heavyweight. Moved down to light heavyweight. Beat Ian Kuteaba, Nick Rorik, and had a couple of meh fights. Dominic Reyes, Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira. Lost to the top tier. Moves down to middleweight and has beat David Branch, Anderson Silva, and Jack Hermanson all via TKO. This dude is the real deal. And I was thinking about this fight, like, after I saw his fight with Hermanson, who was on a tear, by the way. I was thinking, you know, fight would be awesome. Jared Cannonier versus Yoel Romero. Book it. Yoel Romero versus anybody would be awesome. But I want to see Yoel Romero versus Jared Cannonier next. First off, Angel, I gotta ask, did you see any of this card? I know you see some of this card, but what do you think?
I got to, I was on that kind of, watch a bit, get off, watch a bit, get off. I did get to watch the main event, though. That shit was brutal. It was awesome. And like you said, anybody with Yoel's just, it's something special. At least when it comes to that kind of upper half of that middleweight, all those guys fighting each other, I think is entertaining. And I mean, if you match Jared against any of those guys, Paulo, any of those guys up there, I think it'd be entertaining as hell. Shout out to him though for shouting out some people who passed away. I know he shouted out Andre Emmett and then someone else who I can't remember the name of. I completely apologize to that family if they're listening to this, or anybody who may know who it is who has any sort of connection to that. But I thought that was really nice of him. You can tell it really meant a lot to him saying that. And he kind of got a little emotional, and a lot of love out there for everybody who won. I was really happy to see that because it's always nice when people go over, out of their home country or anywhere from they're not, from, and they get love from the people there.
Yeah, and especially it was a nice thing to see after his last time out. I think it was UFC. I don't know which one it was. 237 in Brazil when he beat Anderson Silva. They just booed him ridiculously, and he could not get a single word out. So it was really good to see that, the Copenhagen crowd was really, really respectful, and they were really, really cool. And that, kind of made my day. That was awesome.
You can tell he's a nice guy, man, because I think he was about to swear, on TV, and he's like, ooh, ooh, he stopped himself. It was kind of funny.
I saw, an interview. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, but I just want to say that quickly because, I saw that he kind of, he was stumbling a bit over his words. I don't know if he gets a little nervous or anything like that, but like I said, you can tell he's a kind of a genuine nice guy.
Yeah, he's a genuinely nice guy. I saw an interview with him, it was before UFC 208. He was kind of, unknown guy taking on Glover Teixeira at the time. I know who he was, but not a whole lot of people did. And, they gave him at the media day, they have the media days or whatever, and they went ahead and put his sign up, and there was nobody there to talk to him except for it was some guy from MMA Fighting, and they didn't even have his Twitter handle or his Instagram up, and they always have that for fighters, a promotion thing, and he did not have that. He's yeah, they didn't put my Twitter or my Instagram up or anything, and nobody was talking to the poor guy. And he was really joking about the whole thing, and he was in a really good mood, and he's just a really cool dude in general. But to, I guess, kind of move on to the rest of the card, there was, a lot of fights to talk about, but I figured we could talk about the one that was, the co-main, but not the co-main. It was the one that was on the poster, but for some reason it went second, not second to last, third to last. It was Gunnar Nelson versus Gilbert Burns. This turned out to be, this one I admittedly did not pay much attention to. This one is actually when I ended up taking the nap. But Gilbert Burns is, the best short-notice fighter that I've seen, a long time. Gunnar Nelson is, legit grappler, karate guy, comes out of SBG Ireland, trains with Conor McGregor. You guys know all of Gunnar Nelson's accolades. I do not need to go over Gunnar Nelson's accolades. You know how damn good he is. I got his fight against Gilbert Burns. It was supposed to be Thiago Alves, which is a massive step up, going from Thiago in 2019 to Gilbert Burns is ridiculous. But Gilbert Burns, last time out, he beat Alexei Kunchenko on short notice, and then he beat Gunnar Nelson via unanimous decision. An awesome fight for him. I saw that he wants to step in on early notice again because somebody fell out. I don't know who it was. The dude's a monster, and there are a couple other fights I want to talk about. Owen St. Preux got the Von Flue choke. He has more Von Flue chokes than the guy who is named, has the Von Flue choke named after him. Owen Von Flue would be the greatest name for it, and he refused to die, dude. He's 36. He's past his prime. He probably should have gotten a title shot after UFC 217. It said that they fed him to Ilir Latifi. But regardless, man, he refused to die. He will probably never retire. He'll still probably beat some dudes by weird submissions. I love Owen St. Preux. The fights on the card, Nicholas Dolly versus Alex Oliveira. That one was ridiculous because it was a close fight in the third round. Oliveira got stood up, and it was like his best chance to win the fight after like literally moving into mount, working the entire time. He got stood up, and what is the worst stand-up I've ever seen in my entire time watching UFC. Ion Cutelaba beat Khalil Rountree Jr. Mostly grappling, which is surprising. I've come to the conclusion that Khalil Rountree will probably never live up to his expectations, or he'll either completely surpass his expectations, because he'll go out and like knock out a guy like Gokhan Saki, and then he'll get dominated by Johnny Walker, and then he'll knock Eric Anders down 6 times, and then he'll get dominated by Ion Cutelaba. I was so excited for Thailand Roundtree, and now I need Dagestani Roundtree. I need Russian train grappling for a year. That's what we need, dude. If he comes back and he trains Dagestan for a year, he will be unbeatable. But Angel, is there any other fight you want to talk about from UFC Copenhagen?
No, not in particular, man. I was heartbroken about that Khalil loss. I didn't want to look it up just because I was like, dang, because, I listened to the story, what kind of happened, and, at the point he's at now, and then his last fight, he just looked really good, and, it was just heartbreaking seeing that outcome on the internet. Just good thing I didn't watch it though.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can kind of move on from that card then, because we still have a really, we have a big card this week, man. It's UFC 243 tonight. It's going to be a bit of a later card since it's a pay-per-view, and it's in Australia. Technically, it's going down due to time zone differences. It's technically going to be the 7th or the 6th there. But whatever. The main event, Robert Whittaker, undisputed middleweight champion, has been for 2 years now, taking on Israel Adesanya. Adesanya became interim champion and is fighting against Kelvin Gastelum earlier this year in what is, my opinion, still the fight of the year. 17-0, taking on 20-4. Listen, man, I've gone back and forth. This is I saw the odds, and I believe that they're even. It's dead even odds. And this is basically the home location for both. I believe Adesanya's adopted Australian. I know he's from Nigeria, but I believe he's an adopted Australian. And I know Robert Whittaker is from Australia. And dude, I've gone back and forth in this fight so much. Because here's the thing, they're both so good. Striking, I'd say striking, Adesanya has a very small advantage. I'd say Whittaker has a big advantage when it comes to his wrestling, but I don't know how much that's going to play into it. And Whittaker's just so sneaky with all the things he does. And his resume since 2014 is ridiculous. Brad Tavares, knockout. Uriah Hall, decision. Rafael Natal, decision. Knockout. Derek Brunson, knockout. Jacare. And then he's beat Yoel Romero twice. It's one thing to beat Yoel Romero once in a 3-round fight via split decision. Yes, I'm talking about Paulo Costa. But it's another to beat him back-to-back times, 5-round main event. That's ridiculous. To fight Yoel Romero over the course of 10 rounds to come out on top, that is ridiculous. But same thing for Israel Adesanya, Kelvin Gastelum, which I didn't think he was going to win that fight. He ended up coming out on top. Fight of the year. Anderson Silva, that was an awesome fight. A lot closer than it probably should have been, but still an awesome fight. Derek Brunson, knockout. Brad Tavares, dominating decision. Before that, split decision, Marvin Vettori, and then Rob Wilkinson, which is, not a whole lot to talk about there, but still, 6 fights in UFC, looked incredibly impressive. I've gone back and forth, and I still don't know, as we're talking, who to pick, so I'm going to let Angel take this one. Angel, who do you got?
Oh, man.
Put you in the hot seat.
Dude, no, I've gone back and forth on it too. I like both of them, dude, but Robert's just a monster, man. I think that's kind of the final conclusion I come to. That it's just that, 9 wins straight, back-to-back against Joel. It's kind of, at this point for me, I don't know how I can, argue against that. Not saying Israel hasn't done, anything, because clearly he is very talented. Physically, I find him very interesting, and just kind of his, obviously the style bender. I think as it is, he's a wildly entertaining guy for the sport. I think no matter what the outcome is, he'll still be around. He'll get his chance again. I think Robert's probably gonna win, man. There's just too much there, too much talent, too many wins against too many good guys. And he's still there. He's just gonna keep any guy they put in front of him. I'm pretty sure he'll just finish, man. Take him out. And then, not to say Israel isn't capable of winning this fight. I think he is. His I have my opinions about him at this weight class. I don't know if it's just the way he's built or anything. I just every time I see him against those big guys, it throws me off a little bit. But he wins, so I can't really argue against it. It just there's something there that doesn't fully click with me. He just looks a bit off, like he almost shouldn't be in there. But he's in there and he's winning, so I can't hate. Obviously, don't change the formula if it's working. So, stick to it. I mean, shit, dude. I love it. I love the fight. I love this, I love the matchup. I'm sure everybody will. As for if I think it'll be a finish or not, I think it could be, but it'll be late. Or it'll be really quick. I don't know. I really don't know. I think just based off the betting odds, like you said, it's a 50-50. Anything can happen. I think anybody could win, like, very early on through some crazy shit, late stoppage, or it ultimately going to the decision in all 5 rounds and, being decided by the judges.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think it's going to be a decision. I don't think. Like, I would have honestly, okay, I'm leaning Whitaker, and I think I'm going to pick Whitaker via decision. I think that's going to be my official prediction. I think if Israel Adesanya did not take more time off, I think, if he rushed back to have this fight, he was super, super active, all the time, 230, and then 234, and then 236. If he kept that same schedule, I think Whitaker would have slept him, because you need time off to heal your chin. He got knocked down, 2 or 3 times in that fight with Gastelum? That was a war. And he still hasn't taken a whole lot of time off, April to October, late April to early October. That's not a whole lot of time, but I think it's enough to, probably scrape him by. I think Whitaker's going to take a razor close decision. I think this fight's going to be super, super close. I would be shocked if anybody got slept. I don't think Whitaker's going to get slept, because he's, his chin is ridiculous as is. And, I understand, the point of diminishing values when it comes to your chin. He's gotten in a couple of wars. Well, really 2 wars between Yoel Romero. But, he's taken time off between those fights. He could took a year off between the first and second. Now he's taken over a year off, a year and a half off for this fight. Mostly due to injury, but, still. I think this is going to be an awesome fight. I'm taking Whitaker via, very close decision. The only other fight that's worth a damn on this card, and I hate to really just trash on UFC cards, because, I'm going to watch them regardless, man. I love watching fights between prospects. I love watching fights between older vets. Anyone, really. I'll watch any fight promotion. That's just the type of person I am. However, for $60, I think it's worth talking about how bad this card is. Justin Tafa, Yorgan De Castro. Justin Tafa is a decent heavyweight prospect. He's going to get the win there. Luke Gimeno versus Diego Lima should be a fun. Those guys are typically fun to watch. And I'm going to take Diego Lima there, but those are 2 very bottom of the barrel guys. If Diego Lima lost his last fight, he would have been cut from the UFC. Tai Tuivasa, Sergey Spivak. Sergey Spivak is going to be gone from the UFC out of this fight. Tai Tuivasa's lost 2 in a row. This is very much his rebound. And then you have Ali Quinta, Dan Hooker, top 15 guys. I'm very much going back. The co-main I'm also going back before the lot on, because, rankings-wise, I think this is number 4 versus number 15. It's not very close. But also, Ali Quinta, he's a weird guy, because we don't know how good he is against the top competition. He beat Kevin Lee twice. He beat Jorge Masvidal in a fight that I honestly thought he lost, and so did everybody else. But still, he technically won. Beat Joe Lozon, beat Ross Pearson, knocked out Diego Sanchez, but all those guys are past their prime, and it's kind of a weird thing. Dan Hooker's, on a streak, Ross Pearson also. Jim Miller, Mark Jacasey, Gilbert Burns, James Vick. His resume as of late is a lot better.
Fought Habib on short notice and took him to a decision.
That's true. Although he barely, he survived.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But it's still impressive nonetheless.
It's impressive, but I felt like that was more Habib trying to test out his cardio more than anything. And his last fight, he got dominated by Cowboy Cerrone. But listen, man, I think that Al has the tools to probably scrape out a win here. I think his boxing's gonna really be good, which Dan Hooker's a really, really good pure boxer, and he does a lot of things really. He's a very interesting guy to watch. He does a lot of weird, he does a lot of interesting things. He does a lot of submissions out of nowhere. He throws a lot of knees, but his defense is really, really lacking. And I think Ali Quinta really attacked Cerrone's legs at times. Like in the first round, he really used that like low kick really really well before he got messed up after everything after that. But I think he's going to use that because Dan Hooker is very susceptible to kicks. If you watch that fight against Barboza, his legs and his body got chewed up. And I don't think that's exactly how I was going to beat him, but I think that's definitely going to be a key. And I'm going to take Ally Quinta via decision here. Angel, you got anybody in the co-main?
No. I wouldn't want to pick someone. I think both guys are interesting. I appreciate them both for what they are. You know, I remember the Vic fight, you know, last year. I think that was Dan's fight, and obviously, you know, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but you know, I did get that crazy prediction on Cowboy beating Al, you know, so you know, I'll leave it as it is.
All right, man.
No prediction there for me.
No prediction there for you, but you know, there's not a whole lot else to talk about on this card. Like I ran down the main card pretty quickly. The only other fight I'd kind of talk about would be Megan Anderson versus Sarah Ferrin dos Santos, because this is only, I believe, the 10th UFC featherweight fight in its history. I could name all of them off the top of my head if I tried, but that's about it. Like, you know, there's 10 or 11, which is crazy considering the division has been around for 2.5 years now. It's been around since UFC 208.
Also, can I point out, on the prelim, there's a guy fighting who's 2-0 and is listed at 5'6", fighting a guy who's 6 foot.
Really? What fight?
Brad Riddle versus, what is that, Jamie?
Jamie Malarkey.
Yeah.
What a great name.
Yeah, so, I mean, if that says anything for UFC cards, there you go. I kind of want to just check that out just because I pointed that out right now, because that guy's 2-0, is listed at 5'6", fighting a guy who's 6 foot.
Damn, that's a big difference, but, you know, height isn't everything.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Good luck to Brad. No hate.
I think Megan Anderson and Sarah Ferrin dos Santos are taller than Brad Riddle.
You are right. You are absolutely right. For some reason, I was looking through the card. I'm like 2-0. What the hell? There's probably more backstory there, but you know, I just wanted to point it out because I thought it was interesting.
I'm glad you pointed it out, but
for
yeah,
sure.
I guess Anderson and dos Santos is like something I want to point out because Megan has a lot of potential. She just, her grappling leaves a lot to be desired. But she trains out of KC, from Australia, but you know, trains out of KC. Really awesome on the feet, and I think she's totally gonna win this one. But I don't know, man. I don't know. She needs to get a good. If she wins this, she's probably gonna get that fight against Nunes next, because Nunes has said she wants to defend both titles. And really, Megan Anderson is literally the only fight. Like, there's Felicia Spencer's there, and then like a couple other people who are like on the border, like of 135, 145. But Megan Anderson is the only pure, along with Felicia Spencer, the only pure 145er. If she wins this, she has a leg up over Spencer. So,
alrighty.
Anyways, we can move on to a bit about. Okay, I'm not sure what category to put this in, whether it be boxing or wrestling, but
maybe it's everything.
You guys know I'm a giant wrestling nerd. Like, I've grown up watching WWE since I've been 4, and I've kind of watched it here and there. Like, I'll watch this, I'll watch that, and the other occasionally. Mostly pay-per-views, like, because at this point I'm old and wise enough to know that WWE TV sucks. Like, there's no point in watching it, because TV is just used there to build storylines, most of which are really, really stupid and really, really dumb. The pay-per-view is when all the action happens, when all the matches happen. That's when you get the 5-star stuff. Except this week on SmackDown, if you guys don't know, Fox paid a ridiculous amount. I think they paid like something like a couple, 2.5 billion. Okay, so there's a bit of technical difficulties there, so.
There we go, you're back.
I'm back. Anyways. So if you guys don't know, Fox paid, big Fox, paid something like $2.5 billion in order to get the rights to just SmackDown. Like, SmackDown's always been the B show. I can only imagine how much Raw would cost. But if you guys don't know, WWE has 2 main shows, Raw, SmackDown. They have NXT, which is like originally meant to be developmental, but that one debuted on the USA Network to go head-to-head with AEW, All Elite Wrestling, which is a new promotion, really, really big deal. Did monster numbers its first week. But anyways, so SmackDown debuted on Fox. We're not going to talk about AEW and all that stuff because I doubt anybody really cares. on the normal podcast, people don't really probably care. But I think SmackDown will be interesting because there's a lot to talk about here from other sports. So I figure first we should start off with Tyson Fury. There's some random match going on. I only saw like the clip. I don't know who's involved in the match, but I know it's Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's like this dude 6'11". He's ridiculously tall, former strongman competitor. Dude is super big, super strong. Anyway, so Braun Strowman's having a match, and Tyson Fury's in the front row, and I believe they're at the Staples Center, but don't quote me on this. They're in somewhere in LA. Because I know because the Rock was there and he made some comment about it. So yeah, if you guys can tell, they brought out all the stars for this. Because it was their debut on Fox. And, so Tyson Fury's in the front row. Something happens with Braun Strowman, throws somebody into him, and they start taunting each other. And Tyson Fury jumps the barricade and immediately gets stopped by security. And, some people are like, oh my god, was it a work? Was it a shoot? And it's like, it's pretty clearly scripted. And if you honestly bought it, then I'm happy for you, because you still, are a child and still believe in pro wrestling.
Let me tell you this. There was two clips. There's one where nothing happens and they heckle each other, but then there's another one where like they're on the ring and then he jumps over, which was the one I saw, and I was like, oh fuck. Because the first time I was like, oh okay, there's a little joke, maybe trying to hype it up, maybe that's it, right? And then when he jumps over, I was like, oh fuck, I actually don't know if this is serious or not.
It's because security immediately jumped in.
Yeah.
Normally, if it's like a WWE thing, they'll security is typically in on it. They'll let him jump over the barricade. Except for one time, I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but Rob Gronkowski had like a cameo at WrestleMania one time, like a battle royal, and he jumped over, and some poor security lady didn't know, so she was there trying to stop Rob Gronkowski from getting in the ring.
Oh my god.
So they tried to make it. The security immediately jumped in, which I thought was good because it kind of blurred the lines between fiction and reality, which I really, really liked. But yeah, they separated him. I'm sure you guys saw this, but apparently they were like, WWE put out a thing on their Twitter like, we will give Tyson Fury an open mic on Monday Night Raw. And I'm like, dude, the crossover. There's been a lot of crossover between boxing and wrestling just for years, man. Mike Tyson. I'm a member of D-Generation X. And he was a special guest referee one time at WrestleMania, which he got paid a shitload of money for. I think it was like $5 million.
That's what he said. They were making a ridiculous amount of money. I listened to that on his podcast. Yeah,
they were making ridiculous amounts of money. I know Floyd Mayweather had honestly a really good match against the Big Show. It was like some no DQ match where like they put each other over, and Floyd he knocked him out with like brass knuckles or some shit at the end of the match, which was like. WrestleMania 24 was my first WrestleMania that I saw. I got it on like DVD or something, and I still have the DVD in like my room.
Might have to play that someday.
It's like I'll give you my WWE network, bro. But like it was honestly a really, really good match. They put on an awesome match. Floyd went over, which is not surprising considering the outside guy always wins. That's just kind of how the way it goes. But now they have Tyson Fury in there. And he's one of the bigger stars in, I'd say, American boxing today. Like, if most people don't know any big boxers outside of, maybe they know Canelo, but I think that definitely appeals more to like the Mexican market. But yeah, if you pull 10 people aside, I'd say probably 2 of them know Tyson Fury. They've probably heard the name before. Same for Deontay Wilder. That's just kind of how boxing is in America nowadays, but it is growing
Manny. There's probably a couple of names.
Oh, I forgot about Manny. Yeah.
I feel like the American community probably knows Manny or is aware of Manny. I don't know, dude. I love the survey. I wish we could do something like that. Like we go to some public place and we start pulling people aside, and then start asking them like, hey, name a boxer.
Yeah, and I feel like most people probably, they'll probably just say something like Mike Tyson or something. But
no. I mean, I feel like we would ask. Name a current boxer, or an active boxer. It'd be something like that.
Speaking of, like, SmackDown, I just saw that it got 4 million viewers for its premiere, which is really, really big.
Hey. That's good for
I thought that was cool, because I saw AEW premiere to 1.4, and I saw they did, like, some victory lap.
Quick little thing, dude. Jack Swagger, AEW? I saw that.
Yes, Jake Hager, Jack Swagger, whatever the hell you want to call him. Current
Bellator
fighter, former WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I've always been a big proponent of this guy because he is really good whenever you give him time to work and you don't make him talk. Because the guy is a lisp, so it's really hard to buy him. But he's awesome in the ring, and like whenever you book him to be a monster, he can be great. And Yeah, man. He debuted, and he had an awesome debut. I really liked AEW's debut on TNT. Like, there was a lot to like there. I liked John Moxley, Kenny Omega. There's a lot to like there, but I don't know, man. SmackDown I liked a lot more.
So Cain Velasquez, there's a lot of shit that's going on.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get to, man.
A lot of shit, dude.
So we get to the main event, and it's Kofi Kingston. If you guys don't know, Kofi Kingston's this guy. He's been around for 12 years now. He's always been like kind of a fan favorite, and for years, I know we talked about it on the podcast because that's how it was WrestleMania this year.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah, he was around for like 12 years, and he never got the shot. He never got the shot to be champion, and everybody wanted him to be champion, and it was like such a grassroots fan campaign for like, we want this feel-good moment. Like, we want to see Kofi finally win the big one, because he got close a lot of times, but he never got there, you know. WrestleMania 35 this year, he's taking on Daniel Bryan, who is also a former guy, like, former fan favorite. This time he's playing the heel, he's playing the bad guy. And Kofi, they put on an awesome match, and Kofi won. And over the past few months, he's been champion for 6 months, man. He beat Randy Orton like a match. He's beaten a couple other big guys. They booked him to be really, really strong. They wanted him to feel like a real champ, you know. They didn't want him to just be some kind of iffy guy, right? And then they have, like, Brock Lesnar come out last week, and they're like, I'm going to challenge you for the debut of Fox or whatever. He didn't say anything. Paul Heyman's is the guy talking for him. And Kofi Kingston, I expected a Brock win, but I honestly would not be surprised if they were like, had Kofi go over like a really surprise move, because Kofi Kingston, he's been booked super strong, man. Like, he's a giant, like, fan favorite. There's a lot going for him. And then, literally, the match starts, they have their entrances, and I'm super hyped, man. I am hyped. Like, I'm following this along, like, I'm obviously not watching it live, but I'm, like, kind of, like, looking down at my phone every once in a while, seeing what's, like, going on. And I got home and watched the match, and, like, I'm hyped. I made sure not to watch any results. And then 1 second in, and 9 seconds go by, and the match is over. And it was like the scene from The Godfather, look how they massacred my boy. Brock Lesnar gives him one F5, and he pins him in less than 10 seconds. And I was pissed. I was very irritable. I was very upset, because I knew they were probably going to have him lose. And Brock Lesnar's booked super strong, you know, because he's a former UFC heavyweight champion, of course. Done in 10 seconds. Less. And I was like, dude, this sucks. And all of a sudden I hear Rey Mysterio's music hit. If you guys don't know, Rey Mysterio got attacked by Brock Lesnar like a couple of days before this. And I see him come out. And he has another guy come out with him, some bald guy. At first I didn't know who the hell it was.
Bald guy with tattoos.
And then bald guy with tattoos. And then like, it's Cain Velasquez. I'm like, wait, what? I knew Cain made his debut in AAA and all that stuff. And then, like, he comes out and he beats the hell out of Brock Lesnar. And, like, they have some stare down. And I'm like, dude, we talk about, like, the lines getting blurred between boxing and wrestling. This shit happens in MMA all the time.
Fucking awesome.
But yeah, it was a really cool moment because you two have fought before, and if you guys don't know, Cain beat the shit out of Brock, but that was one of my favorite. I made a list a long time ago of like top 10 one-round fights. That's like one of my favorite one-round fights because Brock comes out, they start throwing haymakers. Lesnar throws a flying knee right at the start. He takes him down, and then it was a ridiculous fight. I'd recommend watching it. But in the end, Cain beat him via first round TKO. But now they're gonna run it. They're gonna do something in WWE, man. And I know it's gonna be a really good match. I'm excited.
Maybe a UFC match afterwards too, to top it off.
I doubt it. Actually, I saw. Speaking of UFC, I saw that Cain said he was gonna pull out of the USADA testing pool. So pretty much making his retirement official. If you guys don't remember, he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou at the start of this year, and that's looking like it's gonna be his last fight. Which I don't blame him.
Shit happens.
Shit happens.
Our boy Edge, Josh, you want to give that big news that you sent to me?
Okay, so here's the rumor. If you guys don't know, Edge, former WWE champion, Angel's favorite wrestler, one of my personal faves, he retired right in his prime. I say right in his prime. I think he was like 39. But wrestlers can go until they're like 60 just because, like, depending on how the matches go, you don't have to be super physically intensive, right?
Thing is, the man was killing it at the time.
He was killing it at the time. His last match was like the WrestleMania, and I believe he won the title or he retained the title or something along those lines.
That man held that shit for a minute, dude. Who fucking remembers?
I remember. And he ended up coming out the next night, and he announced his retirement due to some neck thing. I don't remember what the exact diagnosis was, but I guess he's talked about on his podcast his neck's healing, and he said, like, I think I could go for a couple more. And I saw that, like, Dave Meltzer, who, like, writes for the Wrestling Observer newsletter, he's been around since the 80s, by the way. The dude's like, he's like God when it comes to MMA, wrestling dirt sheets. And he said, like, yeah, there's been discussions about him possibly having one more match if he could get cleared. If he could get cleared, that's the big thing. If he could get cleared. And there was a rumor that he did get cleared. Obviously, it's not confirmed. And I saw Edge put something out. He just said, no, I'm not, and no, I'm not. That was all he put out on Twitter. He didn't respond to anybody. He just said that. But obviously, wrestlers work a lot. Wrestlers lie. They want stuff to be a surprise. So you don't know if he's really working, like, faking out, or if he's just saying it truthfully. Honestly, I don't know. And I don't know a lot about the guy who said it. I know the guy's Twitter, Fight Oracle, I believe. He's been reliable about some MMA stuff, but I don't know about pro wrestling. So take it with a grain of salt.
Still really cool to maybe think about.
If he comes back, I'm hyped though. I'm living for it, dude.
For sure. Arch Nemesis isn't in WWE anymore. He's going to be fighting in an MMA fight. When is that happening?
Wait, what?
The Del Rio fight.
Oh, Del Rio versus Tito Ortiz. There's still no date announced.
What? But they had like a little press conference and shit, didn't they?
They had something like they confronted each other in the ring or something stupid, which was ridiculous and it was terrible. But I loved every second of it. I think I saw Tito say something that like they're trying to make it for New York.
Interesting.
Which, if that's true, that'd be crazy.
But under which promotion, or would it be like individual, just them, and then they make it on their card?
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Combat Day Americas is an interesting promotion, and trying to get anything out of their CEO Campbell McLaren, that dude's crazy. So you're not going to get anything out of him.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we still don't have a date. I think it's probably because they don't even know. But that's fine. That's fine. As long as it happens.
Okay. It is what it is.
Now I guess we should move on. I think I've talked enough about wrestling. Now we need to get on to real boxing. And Angel, your boy Triple G is fighting tonight.
He is fighting. He's fighting Derevyanchenko tonight.
I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one, considering you know probably more about Derevyanchenko than I do.
Dude, at this point, okay, look, listen to this. Definitely not deserving a title shot. I don't, like, at all. Can't believe shit's being put on the line for this bullshit. This man's literally coming off a loss, a win against someone who is, probably a good chance he doesn't have a Wikipedia page, Josh. So I know
he does, though.
Oh, he does? Okay, well, look at that. Fucking miracle. Surprisingly. Well, a very minimal Wikipedia page of that, let's put it like that.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not very deep.
Yeah, exactly, and that Josh,
26-4.
Yeah, that qualifies a lot for us. If there's a very big, based off the Wikipedia page, that's how we know how good they are.
Something like that, man.
Something like that. Thing is, the boy Derevyanchenko is coming off a loss to Danny Jacobs. Split decision. I'll give him that. Maybe not the worst loss, didn't get finished. Thing is, overall, the guys, if I remember right, the guys won everything pretty much could outside of professional boxing. I think Olympics, European, maybe something in the amateurs. Thing is, at the core, boxing wise, all the talents are there. He's aging, he's 33, not crazy old, but definitely, at that point in your athletic career where, certain things are just not there anymore. Maybe you just don't have as much explosiveness, much athleticism, speed, reaction time's already slowed down at the age of 26, 28. I don't remember exactly what it is. But, I know, at least for the hardcore, crazy boxing fans of the world, I know they're not a fan of this, because it's like, he lost to Danny, right? He was already going for that title against Danny, and people didn't think that was, worthy of getting that title shot in that moment. And then especially now, after beating a guy who is of, no crazy relevance within that weight class, and now fighting Gennady, it's like, do you really deserve this? But it is happening at MSG, which is cool. I think for what it is, it's a good fight. I mean, is it supposed to be happening? Probably not. Obviously Gennady, the resume is there, the talent is there, the knockouts are there. It's all laid out for you, for sure. There should be no issue for Gennady tonight. As for what could happen, the finish is very possible. It's very unlikely to happen. I think there's a world where there isn't a finish. I think Gennady could probably dominate all the way through and have a very, good decision under his belt. Granted, certain things have happened recently with him boxing that have pointed otherwise, not necessarily to him. But I think Gennady should be fine here. There should be no issue. I know people weren't a fan of his last fight regarding how, not quick he finished. We expected that to be a little sooner than it happened.
But it was still a finish, though. Like, relatively quick.
Oh, it's still quick, but, to his standard, and then, to, people, maybe the general public who maybe aren't the biggest fans, and, don't keep up with the boxing to that level, they didn't think it was, as fast as it should have been. Credit where credit's due, still, he got the finish.
Yeah.
I think, for the most part here, if anything, maybe a late stoppage if it does happen. I think more likely than not it'll be a unanimous decision win for Gennady. He himself's been aging. He's 37 now, man. At any point, this man kicks the can and we won't even expect it. Might already be wearing those adult diapers. We don't know what he's dealing with at this point. Thing is, the man is still kicks some fucking ass, my guy. He can kick all our asses here. And, I'm excited, man. Anytime Gennady fights, it's entertaining, but, I don't know. I think this fight will tell us a lot, though, of how he is right now, dealing with his age. That's one big thing. That's one big thing I want to look forward to going into this fight, because I know that his age has been brought up a lot recently, and it makes perfect sense. Everybody ages. It's not it's not something that you can avoid. We all grow old. We all grow, wrinkly. Boxing isn't forever. And there's still talks of that Canelo fight. 2021 potentially, maybe 2020.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's always on the books. But for me, Gennady at this point, there isn't too much for him to do. Besides maybe build up a resume, take a couple nice names. There's a little nice name to take, but, unless he really wants to take that shot at Canelo again, there isn't too much, I'd say, for him. He doesn't have to take a young guy, in his prime like a Charlo or an Andrade. He can, and, sure, I don't know if that's smart for them. But, at this point, that's kind of what it is, man. For me, this fight will just give me a good idea of where he's at right now, physically and future-wise, what will probably happen boxing-wise. That's, like, the main thing for me right now going into this match. Besides that, there isn't any, like, crazy importance, at least personally to me, in this match, affecting the rankings. And I don't think going forward it will affect anything, drastically, and it shouldn't, because I think at this point, at least for that division, we know who's at the top. We know the names that need to box each other. We know Charlo or Andrade need to box each other to get Canelo. Canelo needs to go at one of them, whatever it may be. But besides that, they're the only guys who are undefeated. and they're probably the more threatening of the bunch up at that top 5, top 10 of that weight class. And this is kind of the point we got into right now with this weight class. Canelo is in his prime moment. Taking names. That's what it is. But there's not too much to this match. At least for me. There's no relevancy. Going forward, this won't affect any potential matches down the line for me. For me, the big thing is, getting those guys at the top to box each other. And I mean, this is what's happening right now, and it's great. But, like I said, the true savants, I wouldn't consider myself that, of boxing are not happy about this from what I'm aware of. I don't know if you have anything to say, Josh, but, feel free to add anything if you want to.
I do have a little bit to add. I'll say I think Triple G is the best of that weight class. I don't care what the judges say about Canelo. I don't care what Golden Boy says about Canelo, although they're not really on. There have been little things between Canelo and Golden Boy, but regardless.
A lot of things with Golden Boy right now.
Huh?
A lot of things with Golden Boy right now.
Yeah. A lot of things with Oscar, kind of. Whatever. So, I mean, I don't really agree with the judges on that one. I think that, I don't care what the rankings say. Triple G's the greatest, at that weight class. He's the greatest in the world, that weight class. And full credit to Derevyanchenko. He's 13-1, really good amateur, based on what I'm looking at here. Although he did lose to Daniel Jacobs, beat one guy to get this shot, who is not ranked very highly, and like you said, doesn't really have a deep Wikipedia page, which obviously is the greatest judge of character. But, listen, I think Triple G's I think he's gonna do really well here. I'm not really sure. I'm not looking at much upset potential. Obviously some guys he's struggled with more, recently than he probably should have, Daniel Jacobs on paper, he should have won that relatively easily, but that was before we knew how good Jacobs was. Vane's Metarosian, he tagged, Triple G a couple times. He didn't hurt him, but he tagged him a couple times. Steve Rolls probably went longer than it should have. You can argue, but still he got a 4th round knockout. And still got a 2nd round knockout in that Martirosyan fight, which still Martirosyan moving up a couple weight classes, and, he had a little bit of success. Whatever. I think he's probably gonna get a decision here. Pretty clear cut decision. I don't think he's gonna knock Derevyanchenko out. I think he has a really solid chin, just based on what I'm looking at here. He's still a top 10 ranked guy by BoxRec. I don't know, but I don't think there's much upset potential here.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, definitely no. Like I said,
takeaway.
No, for sure. There isn't too much here future wise. It's a good solid match, but besides that, outside of that isn't too much. Like I told you, I think for me and for a lot of people, it'll probably be like I said, a test of his age, just to see where he's at, But that's the only thing for boxing this week, sadly. For a little while we won't have too many crazy matches. Not to hate on anybody who's fighting the following week or within the week as well.
But we still got some stuff over the next few months. We've got some really big matchups over the next few months.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dude, we still got KSI and Logan Paul for the year, man.
Oh my God, you're right. Greatest sports competition of all time.
Exactly.
Jokes aside, there is I'm not sure if you guys saw this. I know you did, obviously, but there's going to be a London press conference we could talk about next week.
Oh yeah.
That's going down, man. London press conference. I don't know when it's happening exactly. It's happening this week though. It's gonna be fun. Because the London fans are crazy, man. British fans are crazy.
Throwing pies at people, fucking wild.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be wild. So I'm looking forward to that.
For sure, man. For sure.
And then we got Ruiz and Joshua coming up.
Kovalev and Canelo.
Kovalev, Canelo. We got a lot of stuff going on, man.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. We will most definitely be entertained for the next couple months.
Just add on to something real quick. The KSI Logan Paul press conference will be Monday at 6.
Okay. 6 our time?
Yes.
6 CST, boys. There you go. You heard it here first.
Alright, fellas. So, before we bounce out of here, I want to talk about Target. Target is one of the great stores today. Remember, buying online, you're buying a store. You own quality with good prices. Target's one of the stores that helps you bring your podcast each and every single week. If you buy the link on Podbean, help support us. Target, expect more, pay less. that's all we got this week. This one was like a bit longer than some of our recent ones have been. Sorry if they've been short, but sometimes there's just not a whole lot to talk about that's interesting to us, and we don't want to just mail it in. We don't want to give you some podcasts that's just kind of lame and boring. We want to talk about stuff that's interesting to us, and that's why some of the stuff has been shorter, and that's why some stuff will be longer. We talk about it to whatever length we want to. So, but, thanks again for listening. At Courtside Sound 1 on Twitter, at Courtside Soundoff on Instagram. Though Instagram never really gets used, that's kind of my fault, but still, it's there. And we also have a Facebook page, which literally never updates, and it's literally only there for, auto posting reasons. But, the YouTube channel, obviously, the Courtside Soundoff podcast, we've been doing really good stuff there, mostly, due to the little things that I've changed. And hopefully I'll be bringing more content to there soon. But anyways, I'm at Josh Evanoff I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at _01. If you guys want to follow me for MMA stuff, if you want to follow him for the basketball memes, be sure to do that. So that's all I got. So peace and butt grease. Mouse quick.